Have you ever wanted to make your real-world footage look like a miniature toy set? In this tutorial, we're going to show you how to achieve the tilt-shift effect, also known as the miniature effect, using Adobe After Effects. Let's get started. To create the tilt-shift or miniature effect in After Effects, I begin by importing footage clips. Something like a cityscape or landscape works best. Once the footage is inside After Effects, I drag it into a new composition. This type of shot works particularly well for the tilt-shift effect because it mimics the angle you'd expect when looking down at a small model. With the footage selected, I go to the Effects and Presets panel and search for Camera Lens Blur. I apply it directly to the footage layer. At first, it won't change much. That's because the blur needs a map to know which areas to affect. That's where the depth map comes in. To create this map, I go to Layer, then New, then Solid, and make a solid color layer. I rename this solid to Depth Map. The color doesn't matter. It won't be seen in the final render. With the Depth Map layer selected, I apply the Gradient Ramp effect. I then position the start of the ramp in the area I want to keep sharp, usually the middle of the frame. The end of the ramp is dragged either upward or downward, depending on which areas I want to be blurred. This gradient acts as a custom depth of field controller. Once I've set up the ramp, I turn off the visibility of the depth map layer by clicking the eye icon next to it in the timeline. That way, it still works behind the scenes but doesn't show up in the composition. Then, I return to my footage layer and open up the camera lens blur settings. Under the blur map option, I select the depth map solid we created earlier and change the layer to Effect and Mask. Immediately, I begin to see the effect take shape. The gradient map tells After Effects which parts of the footage should be sharp and which should blur out. Next, I fine-tune the effect. I adjust the blur focal distance to focus the lens right at the center of my scene. Then, I increase the blur radius to make the top and bottom of the image look heavily out of focus. This gives the footage that signature miniature look, as if the scene was shot with a macro lens. Scan this QR code to connect with Novela Film Academy. Learn video editing, graphic design, or get professional editing services, and that's it. If you found this tutorial helpful, give us a like, and don't forget to subscribe to Novela Film Academy for more creative content.